Hey guys, welcome back to the Apostle Paul's television channel. Rainy day here in Florida. You can probably see the rain behind me on the lanai, the pool screen lanai here. Great to be back with you. Want to ask you guys, love by starting out by asking you guys a question, get you to think with me a little bit. Do you know your Constitution? Do you know your Constitution? No, not that one. Not the one that was written and activated back in 1789. Not the Constitution of the United States, although that's a good one to know. Do you know your very own Constitution? Well, let's look at the definition of that. The definition of Constitution is the composition of something, its makeup, what it is. So do you know your Constitution? Do you know your makeup? Do you know what you are? Well, let's go to the scriptures, because why is this so important? You know, why do we go over these things? Because they have a dramatic effect on our life. They really affect our life. What we believe has a dramatic effect on our life. Nothing is just happening to anybody. There's an effect of everything that we believe. So, what is your Constitution? I want to take you to probably one of the most important scriptures in the scripture, a place where my mentor said if everybody started here, there would be a whole lot less confusion in the world. Wouldn't that be great? So I'm going to take you to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Join me. I am, as always, reading out of a concordant. This is the concordant version of the Old Testament. Show it to you guys really quick. You can get it at concordant.org. It is a literal translation. Take you to Genesis 2:7. Remember, we're talking about the constitution of a man, constitution of a human, constitution or our makeup, what we are. The importance of looking into this too is that there's a lot of people, the majority of the world lives in condemnation. And that, what we believe, like I said, it affects us. So why do they live in so much condemnation? Well, because they believe that they have free will. What is free will? Free will is your own will without any influence. It's my will in and of myself alone, that I'm willing this to happen, that I am the sole cause of what's happening. So we look in Genesis 2:7. Genesis 2:7 says, Yahweh Elohim formed the human out of soil. So we were formed. That's important. I'm going to break this down. So Yahweh Elohim formed the human out of soil from the ground. It's important. Where we're from. From the ground. We're soil. He formed us out of soil, from the ground. We are soil. And he blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And the human and the soil became a living soul. So the breath, the very life, the life who is God is inside of us. It is what causes all things to live, move, breathe, and do anything. So that was breathed inside of the soil. And it says that we became a living soul. What's interesting about that? It says the human became a living soul. What does that mean? We became aware and we became conscious. Became aware and conscious. So what are we supposed to be aware and conscious of? Well, what did we just go over? What was blown into us? The life of God, the breath of life. So we've got the breath of life that joins with soil, becomes a living soul. A living soul becomes aware, becomes conscious. What's interesting is if you take the life away from the soil, there's no consciousness. There's no awareness. The soul is the result of life joining with soil. You've got conscious awareness. Become aware. So we are soil. Now I want you to think about something. Would you guys join me on an experiment? I want you to go to if you've got a pot, filled with soil or in your backyard, I want you to go out to the soil and I want you to tell it to do something. Command it to do something. Tell it to move. Tell it to run. Tell it to stand up. Just tell it to do something. Crazy, right? Sounds really stupid. Yet we don't know our constitution, so we think we have free will. We think that we're causing ourselves to do all these things. Yet I want you to think about a pot with soil in it. It's nothing without the seed that was sown. Just like Yahweh breathed the breath of life. Yahweh Elohim breathed the breath of life into soil and became a living soul. So let's go over to Paul, the Apostle Paul. He confirms what we are in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 47. Listen to this, guys. This is pretty awesome. It says, the first man was out of the earth, soilish. The second man is the Lord out of heaven. Such as the soilish one is, such are those also who are soilish, and such as the celestial one, such as those also who are celestials. And according as we wear the image of the soilish, now listen to this, we should be wearing the image also of the celestial. We should be. So right now we're wearing the image we're of the soilish. We are soil. We are soil. So my question to you is, apart from the breath of life, what can soil do? What can soil do? If we go to Philippians chapter 2, verse 13, it says, for it is God who is operating in you to will as well as to work for the sake of his delight. Who's causing you to work? Who's willing it? For it is God who is operating in you to will as well as to work. Who's operating in you? The life that was blown into you, in the soil. Why is this so important? Because Christianity teaches you once you accept Jesus, you become a spirit, and that you're this and that you're that. But we don't like to be subjected. We don't like to be humbled, humiliated, that we are soil. That's what the scripture says. Scripture says, Genesis 3:19. Scripture says, listen how clear this is. Genesis 3:19, guys. By the sweat of your brow shall you eat your bread until you return to the ground. For from it you were taken, for soil you are, and to soil you shall return. To soil you shall return. So what are we? What is your constitution? This is so important. Why is it so important, guys? Because when you know your constitution, you understand you don't have free will, that is God that is operating in you to will and to work, that everything that is happening is the result of life that was breathed into you. So he's doing with the soil what he wants according to his purpose and plan. I will see you next time as we continue to talk about this. What is your constitution? Have a great time. Have a great night. Great time. Catch you next time. Apostle Paul's television channel.